Welcome to Cliffhangers and Page Turners. I'm Cliff, and I am so excited for our very first deep dive. I can't wait to start talking books with all of you.
I'm Paige. I am ready to dive into some amazing stories and share all the hidden gems we uncover.
So for our first episode, we're going to be talking about Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister.
Yes, we are going to break down this amazing thriller.
And for listeners who are new to the show, basically we are going to be taking books like Famous Last Words and pulling out all the interesting bits, the things that make you think, the parts you want to discuss with your friends.
It's your shortcut to all the best parts of your favorite books. And today we are going to be discussing Famous Last Words.
Right.
It is a total whirlwind of a thriller, and it centers around a woman named Cam, whose life gets totally flipped upside down when her husband, Luke, becomes a prime suspect in a hostage situation.
And then disappears.
And then vanishes.
It's just bam, 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 right in the face. It's a wild ride from page one. One of the things that really stood out to me were the small details McAllister drops early on, like the note that Cam finds and that weird text from Luke. It's like, boom, foreshadowing. What did you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I think McAllister is so smart with how she uses those little hints of foreshadowing. It immediately creates this sense of unease, like, is everything as perfect as it seems? Are we sure we can trust these characters?
Right, makes you wonder, what else are we missing? And then, bam, we're right in the middle of a hostage situation at Luke's co-working space. I remember reading that scene and feeling chills, seeing those black hooded figures on the CCTV footage. It was so intense.
Oh, yeah. McAllister is a master at creating that visceral reaction. The way she contrasts Cam's normal workday in her office surrounded by books with the sudden chaos of the hostage situation is just brilliant. It really highlights how quickly life can change in an instant.
And then, of course, there's the whole conflict between what Cam believes about Luke and the evidence that's piling up against him. The police see him as a dangerous criminal, but Cam is adamant that he's a good person. What are your thoughts on her unwavering faith in him, even with everything that's going on?
That's where McAllister really dives deep into the psychology of her characters. Cam's belief in Luke's goodness is so strong that it makes you question how far you would go to defend the people you love. Would you hold on to that faith even when the evidence is stacked against them?
It's a question that I think we all have to ask ourselves at some point. And then there's Niall, the hostage negotiator. He is like a dog with a bone, determined to get to the bottom of this case, even years later. What did you make of his role in the story?
I find Niall fascinating. He is so dedicated to justice, even when the case goes cold. He refuses to give up. It makes you wonder, does he have a personal connection to this case that goes beyond his duty as a negotiator?
It definitely adds another layer of mystery to the story. But then things get even more intense with those anonymous messages, especially that text with the coordinates. It's like McAllister is leading us on a wild goose chase, and we have no idea where it's going to end up.
Right. And we are constantly left wondering, are these messages meant to help Cam, or are they leading her into danger? That uncertainty is what keeps you hooked. And then, of course, we have the bombshell that Luke was near the scene of an unsolved double murder the night he disappeared.
Oh, man, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
It completely changes our understanding of Luke and his possible involvement in everything.
Yeah.
Suddenly, he's not just a suspect in a hostage situation. He's potentially linked to something far more sinister.
Exactly. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about him. Is he a victim caught up in something bigger, or is he the one pulling the strings? McAllister is a master at keeping us guessing.
And that's just the beginning. The way she weaves together the clues hidden within Luke's manuscript is just genius.
It's like a whole other story unfolding alongside the main plot, and it requires us to really pay attention to every detail. It makes you wonder, how much can we trust the stories that people tell us, even the people we are closest to?
It's mind-bending.
Yeah.
And then there's Harry Grace, this mysterious criminal figure who seems to be connected to both Luke and that strange house that Cam finds on Rightmove.
Yeah.
What's your take on his role in all of this?
To me, Harry Grace represents the darker side of the world that Cam and Luke live in. He's like a reminder that danger can lurk beneath the surface and that the lines between good and evil can be blurry.
His presence just adds another layer of complexity to this whole web of secrets and lies.
Yeah.
But get ready for this, because the next reveal is a total game changer. It turns out that the hostages weren't random victims at all. They were hitmen sent to kill Luke. And everything he did, the hostage situation, the shootings, it was all in self-defense.
I know, right? McAllister completely flips the script on us. Suddenly our sympathies shift and we have to reevaluate everything we thought we knew about Luke. He's not the villain we thought he was. He was fighting for his life.
Talk about a plot twist. It makes you see the whole situation in a new light. And those words, famous last words, they take on a whole new meaning.
Absolutely. Especially those three words, if anything, from Luke's final note. When you connect that to the clues hidden in his manuscript, it becomes clear that it wasn't just a goodbye message. It was a plan, a way for him to escape, and a declaration of his love for Cam.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, love can find a way. And then we have that incredibly emotional reunion at the Dungeness Lighthouse.
The setting is perfect, isn't it? Dungeness with its isolation and stark beauty, it mirrors Luke's emotional state. And Cam's journey to find him is both physically and emotionally challenging. It shows just how far she is willing to go for the truth.
It's a testament to the power of love and hope. But even though the truth is out in the open, the story doesn't end there. The impact of Luke's actions, the secrets and the lies, they all cast a long shadow over their future.
It makes you wonder, can their relationship really recover from something like this? And what about their daughter, Polly? How will she cope with everything that has happened? My heart breaks for Polly thinking about her caught in the middle of this whole mess. She's so young, and yet she's dealing with the weight of her father's actions and all the secrets surrounding his disappearance.
It's true. Her innocence adds this layer of sadness to the story. It makes you think about the impact trauma can have and how a child's love can endure through anything. One of the things that really struck me about Famous Last Words is how McAllister uses this thriller to explore themes of love and betrayal and the very nature of truth.
Absolutely. It makes you question how well you can ever truly know someone, even those closest to you. It challenges the stories we tell ourselves about the people we love and whether those stories actually line up with reality. But looking back, McAllister is so clever with how she plants those seeds of doubt throughout the story. She's challenging us to question everything we see and hear, just like Cam has to.
It's a testament to her skill as a writer, that she can keep us guessing until the very end. And that ending with Cam finding Luke at the Dungeness Lighthouse, it was satisfying but also bittersweet. They finally reunite, but the trauma of everything they've been through is still there. What did you think about their reunion?
It's such a huge moment of relief, but there's also this feeling that their peace is fragile. You can't help but wonder if their relationship can truly recover after everything that's happened.
It really makes you think, can love really conquer all? Can we forgive the most unimaginable acts, especially when they're done in the name of protecting us? It's a question that stays with you even after you finish the book.
McAllister doesn't shy away from the tough moral questions. And then there's the aftermath to consider. Luke killed 2 people, even if it was self-defense. How do you move forward from something like that?
And how does Cam reconcile her love for Luke with the knowledge of his actions? It's amazing how McAllister can evoke such strong emotions and create these moral dilemmas. She doesn't give us easy answers. Instead, she encourages us to think about different perspectives and wrestle with those tough questions ourselves.
It's what makes Famous Last Words such a compelling read. You're not just passively reading a story. You're actively engaging with the characters and the themes.
It's interesting to think about the parallel between Cam's determination to uncover the truth and Niall's persistence as a hostage negotiator. They both refuse to give up, even when things seem impossible.
That's a great point. It highlights the theme of the pursuit of justice. Both Cam and Niall, in their own ways, embody this relentless drive to find answers, even when it means challenging authority or facing uncomfortable truths.
It's like they're both on this quest for redemption, trying to right the wrongs and bring order to a chaotic world.
Exactly, and their paths cross in a way that is both surprising and satisfying. They find common ground in their shared desire for the truth and form this unlikely alliance that ultimately helps to solve the mystery.
And remember that added layer of suspense with those anonymous reports on Cam. It made you wonder who was watching her and why. It created this atmosphere of paranoia and uncertainty.
Absolutely. It was like Big Brother was always watching, feeding into this feeling of unease and vulnerability. I was constantly on edge trying to figure out who was behind it and what their motives were.
For me, those glimpses into the lives of the victims' families, like Alexander Hale's parents, were especially powerful. It was a reminder that even in a fictional thriller, real people are affected by violence and loss.
Those moments of human connection really ground the story. They remind us that even amidst all the twists and turns of a thriller, there are real-world consequences to the events that are unfolding.
It adds an emotional depth that makes the story so much more than just a whodunit. Cam's journey of self-discovery is another element that resonated with me. She starts out as this successful literary agent living what seems like a perfect life. But Luke's disappearance forces her to find a strength and resilience that she didn't even know she had.
Her transformation is incredible. She's thrown into this world of uncertainty and danger, and she has to navigate this treacherous path to find her husband. It's through this ordeal that she discovers her true potential.
She becomes a detective in her own right, piecing together clues and facing her fears head on. By the end of the book, she's not the same woman we met at the beginning. She's tougher, more resourceful, but she also carries the weight of everything she's been through.
It makes her such a relatable and compelling character. She's flawed, vulnerable, and ultimately human. Her struggles remind us that even the strongest among us can be broken by life's challenges.
And I have to say, McAllister's depiction of London is just captivating. From the bustling streets of Bermondsey to the desolate beauty of Dungeness, the city becomes almost like a character itself.
The setting is so important to the atmosphere and mood of the novel. London's urban sprawl becomes this labyrinth of secrets and danger, reflecting the complexities of the mystery Cam is trying to solve.
And those little details McAllister includes, like the specific brands of coffee Luke drinks or the quirky decor in Cam's office, they add a layer of realism that pulls you right in.
Those seemingly insignificant details ground the story in a familiar world, making the characters and their experiences feel so much more authentic.
It's like you're right there with them experiencing London through their eyes. Now I have to ask, what are your thoughts on Luke's actions? Were they justified even if it meant going into hiding and leaving Cam behind for all those years?
That's the question that stays with you long after you finish the book, isn't it? There's no easy answer. On the one hand, Luke was acting in self-defense, protecting himself from those who wanted him dead. But on the other hand, his decision to disappear had devastating consequences for Cam and Polly.
It's a moral gray area, and McAllister doesn't try to simplify it. She presents both sides of the argument, leaving it up to the reader to decide where they stand.
It's a reminder that life is rarely black and white. There are nuances to every situation, and sometimes the choices we make, even with the best intentions, have unforeseen and often painful consequences.
It's definitely a thought-provoking read. And that ending at the Dungeness Lighthouse, while it provides a sense of closure, also hints at the long road to recovery that lies ahead for Cam and Luke. Do you think their love can truly survive the trauma they've endured?
Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, their lives will never be the same. The scars of the past are still there, and the challenges they face are far from over.
And that's what makes Famous Last Words such a powerful and enduring story. It stays with you, forcing you to confront your own beliefs about love, loyalty, and the complexities of truth. What are your thoughts on the book's ending? Were you satisfied with the resolution?
I found the ending to be emotionally satisfying, but I also appreciated that McAllister didn't try to wrap everything up perfectly. There's a lingering sense of unease and acknowledgement that the trauma of their experience will continue to shape their lives.
It's a reminder that even when the truth comes out, the journey to healing can be long and difficult.
And that's the beauty of Famous Last Words. It's not just a gripping thriller. It's a nuanced exploration of human resilience, the complexities of love and forgiveness, and the enduring power of hope.
You know, one of the things I found really clever was how McAllister used Luke's manuscript, the book within a book, to gradually reveal the truth. It's like she's playing with our expectations, making us question what's real and what's fiction.
It's such a brilliant literary device. It adds this layer of metafiction that keeps you guessing until the very end. And that final reveal where we understand the true meaning of Luke's famous last words, it's just masterful.
It shows McAllister's skill as a writer, her ability to craft intricate plots and create characters that you won't forget.
Absolutely. She's a master of suspense, keeping you on the edge of your seat. But it's her ability to explore the depths of human relationships and tackle those profound themes that truly sets Famous Last Words apart from your average thriller.
Before we move on, I want to touch on Cam's relationship with her sister Libby. It adds another layer of emotional depth to the story. Libby encourages Cam to move on, to let go of the host that Luke is still out there.
It's a realistic portrayal of how grief and trauma can strain even the strongest relationships. There's no right way to cope, and McAllister shows us how these two sisters navigate their own individual paths through this shared tragedy.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, family can be a source of strength and support.
Definitely. And then there's Cam's tentative romance with Charlie. It's like she's trying to rebuild her life, find some normalcy in all the chaos. But the mystery of Luke's disappearance, that lingering hope, prevents her from fully moving on.
She's torn between the past and the present, trying to reconcile her feelings for Luke with the possibility of a new beginning.
It's a conflict that many people who have experienced loss can understand. The fear of moving on, of betraying the memory of a loved one, can be paralyzing. But McAllister shows us that it's possible to find love and happiness again, even after going through such heartbreak.
It's a message of hope and resilience that really hits home.
I'm excited to hear what our listeners thought and what insights they've gained from this captivating thriller.
We got a ton of questions about the ending, especially about Luke's actions. Like, were they really justified? Was it okay for him to just disappear and leave Cam in the dark for years, even if it was to protect her?
It's a huge question, right? There's so much to think about. On one hand, Luke was in serious danger. Those hitmen were not messing around. His actions, as extreme as they were, came from a place of wanting to survive and keep Cam safe.
But at what cost, right? It's like this moral dilemma. You get why he felt so desperate, why he needed to protect Cam, even if his methods were messed up. But you also can't forget about the impact his disappearance had on Cam and Polly years, of not knowing, grieving, suspecting each other. That's a lot to handle.
It really shows how our choices can have these ripple effects. How even when we think we're doing the right thing, it can lead to unintended and painful consequences. McAllister doesn't give us easy answers, and that's what makes this book so powerful. She wants us to wrestle with these tough questions and figure out where we stand.
And that's what good storytelling does, right?
Yeah.
It gets us talking, challenges how we see things, and makes us think long after we finish the book.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the scene where Cam goes to Alexander Hale's funeral? It's such a heartbreaking moment.
Absolutely. It's where the weight of Luke's actions really hits Cam and us as readers. She's mourning this young man, knowing that her husband might be responsible. It's a moment of moral reckoning where she has to face the possibility that the person she loves could be capable of something awful.
It also makes you think about complicity. How much are we responsible for the actions of the people we love?
That's a tough one. And then there's Cam's relationship with Charlie. It's like a little bit of light in all the darkness. Do you think she was really ready to move on, or was it just her way of dealing with Luke being gone?
That's a hard one. I think there were real feelings there, a connection that gave Cam some comfort and stability. But the mystery of Luke's disappearance, that lingering hope, it held her back from fully committing. She was stuck between two worlds, unable to let go of the past or embrace the future. It speaks to how complicated healing and moving on from trauma can be. It's not a straight line, and McAllister shows that so well. And remember that whole surveillance thing? Those anonymous reports on Cam's every move, that feeling of being watched? It added this creepy layer to the story. Why do you think McAllister included that element?
It created this atmosphere of paranoia and suspicion. You started questioning everyone's motives, even the people who seemed like they were trying to help Cam. Was it a way to manipulate her, or was someone genuinely trying to keep her safe? It kept me guessing the whole time.
It definitely added to the suspense and reminded us that things aren't always what they seem. Now here's a question for you. If you were Cam, would you have kept searching for Luke after all those years? And when he finally showed up, would you have believed his story?
That's the big question, isn't it? Could you forgive the lies, the years of silence, knowing that he did it out of love and a desire to protect you? It would really test your trust and commitment. I don't know if I have a clear answer. It's a testament to McAllister's writing that she leaves us with these complex moral dilemmas even after the story is over.
And that's why we love Famous Last Words and why we wanted to share it with all of you. It's a book that has everything suspenseful, plot, interesting characters, thought-provoking themes that stick with you long after you're done reading.
It's a book that will challenge you, make you question your own beliefs, and ultimately give you a deeper understanding of what it means to be human.
So if you haven't read Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister, definitely add it to your list. Thanks for joining us on this literary journey.
It was a great one.
And to our listeners, be sure to tune in next week when we'll be reviewing Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Promises to be another twisty and suspenseful ride.
Until then, happy reading, everyone.
See you next time.